Are people lying on the internet? Are we actually reading those big books? Are we all frauds? What? Those are the big questions that we're going to be asking today, and I'm going to give you my
unfiltered answer.
I've been enjoying making these sit-down videos, and this is almost kind of in conjunction with the video that I made last week talking about my experience being on social media after 7 years. These weirdly feel tied together because a lot of the questions that people have is, oh, reading online performative? Is this just all for show? Is this to garner a following, attention, monetization? What is happening? I'm also making this video because I saw Lady of the Library and Life on Books, I believe that's his name, I'll correct myself if I'm wrong, make 2 videos talking about the death of the critical thinker and are people lying about reading. They're not in response to each other, but there were some interesting points being made, and I want to just give you my thoughts on that. I agree with a lot of the things that they do say, but I want to give you my reflection on some of those topics because I might have a little bit of a different approach to that. And I just want to give you my thoughts on it. So basically, the main catalyst for Lady of the Library's video, The Death of the Critical Thinker, she had seen a video with somebody talking about books that they had read, and a lot of these books that were presented were quite big books, and they looked like they hadn't even been opened, and she was questioning whether or not this person actually read it, or if it was just kind of for show and to gain a following. There's a lot more that she goes into, more of a personal journey, and the fears that she has if somebody is pushing these books without actually having had time to intellectualize them and really give a thoughtful experience with it. So that's where I am going to start my video, but then it's going to branch into a lot of other things. I can honestly say if you are lying about reading books on the internet, truthfully, I don't think I care that much because it's you who's going to have to go to bed thinking like, hey, I lied to a couple thousand people today, or I lied to like 100,000 people, or I lied to 1 million people about reading a book. I can't imagine putting on a performance that deep and being able to live with it. I have a really hard time lying. I'm a bad liar. That's why I act. So I can get paid to lie, so I can be paid to experience those emotions. I have never been able to pretend that I've read a book. I honestly, the idea of doing that has never even crossed my mind. Sure, maybe that's a slightly genius business plan. If you're just gonna shell out book recommendations and not read the book, sure. You jumped on something that obviously people feel the need and want to read books, and if you're just creating these kind of vapid reviews and fraudulent reviews, you've tapped into something that people obviously want to see. But what is the longevity of doing something like that? What is the longevity of lying about books? I mean, where is the satisfaction going to end for you? I think it's going to be ultimately very hard to keep up with doing that. I mean, don't lie is the cardinal rule, right? Treat others how you want to be treated and don't lie. Those are the major rules in life. And there might be a couple other in there as well. The main thing that I want to talk about in this, and this is very close to me, and I'm going to give you a lot of my life experiences and how I feel being a creator online and perception, because I think that that is ultimately maybe the underlying thing throughout all of this. And my question is why are we questioning whether or not these people have read these books? Why do we feel that this person isn't genuine? Is it because of the way that they look? Is it because of their age? Is it because of their gender? Is it because of their background? Is it because of the way that they talk about the books? Is it because they don't have the right camera quality? Is it because they don't have the right education? Why is it that we're questioning this? Hi guys, it's editing Anna in the cool photo booth that so many people are using now, and I feel like a cool girl. I realized that I don't think I really address this well enough, and I want to make sure that this is abundantly clear that the overall theme of like, why are we questioning this? I think we all know why we're questioning it, right? People are reading books at a rapid pace that really doesn't make sense at all, or they seem like they're really not well versed on what the topics of the book are about. I understand the doubtfulness and where that can come in our overall suspicion of people actually reading books. I get that. Like, I'm not silly enough to realize that that's not happening. What I'm more making a comment on, and what you'll see in this entire video, I guess the whole thesis of my video talking about readers and reading online, is that I'm more concerned with the divisiveness that this is causing. I'm really not that concerned with people if they're actually reading a book or not. To me, that truly, I understand the fear that it might instill in people, that it's just a product of trying to push books or encourage sales of things. I get that. I totally get it. I'm cool with it. Okay, I'm cool with it. But my fear is that we are creating a space where people that are genuinely curious about something or making an active effort to become a part of a community are being left out. And I think probably in the grand scheme of things, the people that are actually lying about reading things is a very small percentage. I truly believe that. Call me ignorant. Ignorance is bliss for me, okay? Call me very ignorant, but I truly believe that that is the percentage that we're probably looking at. I mean, the majority of people that I watch, I've maybe questioned one or two people. I am in that boat of questioning people's authenticity, but very seldom compared to the amount of people that I do see and I truly believe in. For me, I wanted to make much more of a video talking about who gets to be kind of the voice of reason, who gets to be the disciplinarian, I guess we could say, who gets to set the boundaries of these rules that we have on social media and how people talk about books in the internet space, because we would never question if somebody actually read a book if they physically had it and we saw them out in public, even if they were never reading it. It's just much more of this projection online that we raise questions about, and that is what I want to explore in this. Again, the video topic that Late in the Library and Life on Books were just the way for me to start this video. Now my video has like nothing to do with them. This is just much more of what I see and what I feel as a reader, and I want to open doors and avenues of discussion. So I just want to make that really clear, because as I was rewatching footage, I was like, well, I feel like people are gonna be upset, and please don't be upset. I don't plan on making a lot of videos like this. I just wanted to have this video available because it was something that I saw that genuinely piqued my interest, and I just wanted to voice my opinion about it, and just some things that have been bubbling underneath my surface for a while now, and something that I feel as someone who I hope has engaging and thoughtful conversations on the internet, and I just want to impart some of my, I guess, insecurities and how I would like to be perceived. So now we'll get back to me with a totally different hairstyle, but also the same exact shirt on. I have a limited wardrobe. If I was to be told that the reviews that I'm giving, the way that I am conducting myself online, or the pure passion that I have isn't adequate enough, I would feel shattered. Perfect example of this. Acting is my passion. Acting is one of the main reasons that I started this YouTube channel, because it is historically an incredibly hard craft to break into. Such an isolated experience. You have to network, you have to know the right people. So hard to break into it, right? So I started this YouTube channel because I wanted to talk about my passion, which is reading. I could talk about reading till the day I die. I could also yap till the day I die. But I also wanted to create a platform for myself to be able to perform every single week, to keep myself from going rusty, and to be able to have agency over the way that I am portrayed. I have never felt less secure about myself than when I walk into a room of theater actors. I'm not saying cast that I've been cast in, because I've always been cast with really lovely people. But if I'm going for an audition, or if I'm just meeting with people who just want to, talk about, being so theatrically inclined, and they're talking about what school that they've went to or what training that they've gotten, and I have none of that. I did not go to school. I did not go to college, didn't go to university. I have a high school education, and my education in life was working in theaters, working in general, traveling, and reading. That was my education. So somebody could easily click onto my channel, look at me, maybe pass judgment on the way that I present myself. I wouldn't look at myself in the street and say, oh, that girl reads for a living. I would probably say, that girl's a diva. Hopefully that's what people say. But you know what I'm trying to say. I don't think I look like a classic bookworm. And what is that? Like, what is that stereotype? You know, I have never felt more ostracized from something that I'm so passionate about than when people start to doubt my reason for being there. I'm also not lying about anything in my theater life, so I'm trying to tie this all back together. I don't feel like I have to preserve this very purist point of saying, no, you have to read these classics, you have to do this, you have to do XYZ. I used to feel that way, and I've been very transparent about this on the internet when talking about books. I used to feel like I had to read everything that was classic, and I would love to get to those books. I leave that table open. I shelf those ideas, and I would love to get back to it at some point in my life, but I have really extended my reach of books, and I feel great about it. Another example, I branched out into reading mangas this year. I have a full series on this channel where I read the manga Berserk, a community that I've never tapped into. I have never read a manga before Berserk. It was my first time reading anything like that, and I was interested because I had seen a couple people do videos about reading Berserk, and I also was in love with the soundtrack. So I started reading it, and I was a little bit apprehensive to get into that space because I felt that, you know, I know that there's a fandom surrounding this, and am I going to be adequate enough for the fandom? And let me tell you what, everybody welcomed me with open arms, and that encouraged me to continue reading where I otherwise may have never continued reading. And that is so fundamental to the success of experimenting and finding yourself in something new. I'm very much an outlier. I feel so accepted, and that's such an important way of learning and continuing to learn. And this is kind of so far of a tangent off of the original inception for a lot of these videos, but I really just want to make that a very personal note, because I know that if I was told that I wasn't smart enough because I didn't have a college degree or I had never went into higher education, I would feel so radically stilted, and I wouldn't have the confidence to get on here and talk about what I love and my passions. And if these people are lying, the thing I would say is, how do we turn them into readers? If they see this as an opportunity, if they see it as maybe even a hoax, maybe they're doing a whole hoax and they're just trying to run an experiment. Orson Welles, anybody, okay? Maybe they're trying to do a hoax. Maybe they're just seeing this as a business opportunity. Maybe they're just trying to jump on a trend. Fine. I think that there is a little flicker of enticing activity for them in reading. How do we turn them into readers? How do we make them excitable and want to actually pivot that energy into reading a book? That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm trying to get people excited about. And in the same vein of our own way of doing things, our own vehicle for how we approach reading or how we present ourselves or how we talk about books, I'm a really big proponent of art is welcome to its own interpretation. Yes, we know that the author may have had a persuasion or they wanted to really project a certain idea in their writing. We know this. Of course. Books have been dissected and talked about for centuries, and they're constantly evolving in the way that we see them. I was just in the Met Museum, and I made a Patreon exclusive vlog where I was filming some of the paintings, and it's so interesting to me because there's the iconic cover, stoner cover by John Williams. I saw the actual painting in the Metropolitan Museum, and I've seen it before, but would that artist think that his painting of someone who he knew would evolve into how people associate William Stoner visually? Like I couldn't help but think that William Stoner looked like that man. So things are always evolving. I mean, I'm sure that painter would never think that was where his painting was gonna go. A lot of the time I interpret things the wrong way. I am constantly running up to understanding the ambiance, the cadence of a story, understanding the overall flow of it, but then there's just something that happens, and it's the juxtaposition of how the majority of people read it. I always think, am I wrong? And then I say, no, you know what? I don't think I am. This isn't a math textbook where I have to have the exact answer. I personally don't feel like there has to be 100% correct way of reading a book. Sometimes we miss out on these just granular details, and people will think that you didn't read it. You didn't really get the emotional impact of what the book was trying to say. And yeah, I mean, I forget about plot points in books all the time, and I would say that I'm a very active reader. Sometimes I read a book and I got the overall flow of it. I got the feeling of it, but when I'm really sitting and reading a book and taking my time and analyzing everything, sometimes even then I will miss something. That make me less of a reader? No, I think it makes me an honest reader. One of my favorite books of all time, East of Eden, I love it. I need to reread it because I'm forgetting certain parts of it, but there's certain sentences or certain embodiment of characters that I'll remember more than anything, and to me, that's what I got out of that book. Do I have to remember every single plot point of every single character? No, I don't think I do. I think it's just the way that it was able to change me in that moment, alter my mindset. That's what a book can do for you. We all have different ways of reading books. We all have different ways of seeing the world. We all have different viewpoints, and that's great. That's great. That's great. That's the way it should be. I also think it's really funny. This just happened. This was a random coincidence, but Goodreads just launched a DNF bookshelf, a did not finish bookshelf, if you don't know the lingo. And I think it's showing just how precious people are taking book reading. I rarely DNF a book, but I'm totally fine to DNF a book. I'm totally fine to do that. But I think it's really funny that is now something that has become a part of this really pure and decided way that we should read books. And I think that's great. Sure. I'll put a couple books on there if I didn't read them throughout the year. But I just think it's a really funny thing because it is changing the way that we curate and highlight our reading experience. And Goodreads in general, I keep Goodreads as just a fun way to track my books. I don't care about the goal. For the past 2 years, I've set a 52 book goal, 1 book a week. That feels doable. Another conversation that was being made was a lot of people who are in this book creating community, they feel the pressure to get out videos, to stay on top of the trending topics, to stay relevant. And I mean, sure, I kind of feel that way. Not really. I think genuinely sincerity is what rises to the top, especially online, because we are so conditioned to seeing so many fake things, to question everything. But then when you see genuine sincerity, there's no questioning it. I live in the world of ASMR, right? Such a strange little analogy that I'm gonna make, but I find the best ASMR is people who have just set up a camera, nothing fancy, and they just genuinely talk about what they like in a nice voice. And that just shines for me. That just shines. Sincerity will always be relevant. Sincerity will always be so capable. If we are questioning people reading, I think the biggest thing is just showing them the truth of what reading can unlock for you and just the beauty of actually existing in that space and enjoying it. I think encouragement is so much more powerful than knocking down. And I think there's a beauty into just opening the door and letting somebody walk in. Yeah, that's kind of all I want to say about that. I hope that this was comprehensible. I hope that this didn't feel too long-winded and a little bit silly. And I hope that this wasn't me on a pedestal talking to you, but I'm really just telling you how I feel as someone who I don't think is conventionally a reader, who I don't think is conventionally a person who you would associate with intellectualism. Okay, I don't think that I'm an academic by any means. I quite literally am not an academic. But I'm somebody who enjoys talking about books and just enjoying my experiences and sharing them with people. And I just wanted to give a little opinion about it. Just a little opinion. Watch those 2 videos. They're great. They give a lot of nuanced takes about it. I think they got some good points. So you guys are wonderful. You're fabulous. I will see you in the next one, which will be about books. I hope. We'll see. Talk to you later.